Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it today. Today I wanted to share with you an article that came through from the Federal News Network, and this just came out on June 7th, 2023 by a guy named Jory Heckman, again from the Federal News Network. And good information. The headline got me and I read it and thought, you know what, I'm going to share this because there is a lot of information in there to kind of give us some idea of what the future is going to hold, as well as some reading between the lines stuff that I wanted to share with you. So bear with me, hang on for as long as you can, because there's some tidbits through this whole thing. So I'm going to read you the headline here. The headline says VBA. Now remember, the VA is the big umbrella. You have VBA, Veterans Benefits Administration, VHA, the Healthcare Administration, and then you have the cemeteries. So VBA rolling out more automation tools this summer, but expects uptick in backlog. Now, this article is filled with a lot of information, and there's little insights through here that I really wanted to point out. So, jumping into it, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. Thank you. All right. The Veterans Benefits Administration is looking to accelerate its use of automation tools this summer to keep pace with its workload and break new records on the number of claims it can process in a year. VBA officials told members of the House Veterans Affairs Committee that increased automation, God, why is that so hard for me to say? Automation stands out as a key part of the agency's 5-year modernization plan. Raymond Tellez, VA's acting Assistant Deputy Undersecretary for Automated Benefits Delivery, told lawmakers on Wednesday that VBA, as part of its 5-year modernization plan, is piloting automation. I keep doing it. Automation technology. I'm probably going to keep doing it, so I apologize. All right. Technology to help decrease the time it takes to process claims. Tellez said VBA expects these tools will drive down a growing backlog of claims within 2 years. He told lawmakers the backlog will peak at about 400,000 cases between now and 2024, will drop dramatically and fall below 100,000 claims by 2025. We are factoring 2 years because the sort of conservative approach that we are doing for automation. Change is hard. Our employees have been through a lot the last 10 years, some huge transformation, so we're being very thoughtful, he said at a joint hearing of the Technology Modernization Subcommittee and Disability Assistance for Memorial Affairs Subcommittee. Under this modernization effort, VBA is looking to roll out automated data support tools that will deliver information, including a veteran's medical exams and validation of military service to a claims processor more quickly. VBA is also launching automated data ingestion (ADI) tools that will pre-populate information for benefits claims. Robert, name I can't say, the director of VA Office of Information. I'm going to try to say it. I'm going to butcher this. Robert Orifici, Orifici, last name. I wish somebody could spell that for me phonetically. All right. So Robert, name I can't say, the director of the VA's Office of Information and Technology Benefits and Memorial Systems portfolio, said about 400 VBA employees are currently using ADI tool. The ADI has been a success in getting functionality to the users quickly. It's been a way of getting features into the hands to help them process claims faster and more efficiently, he said. Name I can't say said ADI currently functions as a browser extension, but the agency expects to deploy the tool to more employees this summer through fiscal 2024. Remember, fiscal year for federal, October 1st into September. He added that ADI's features will eventually be built into the agency's Veterans Benefits Management System, the VBMS. Now, here's a little point that I want to point out. VBMS is also used by your local county veterans service officer, your accredited folks, and other accredited, VA accredited users who have PIV card access. So they'll have a little VA card that says that they're basically an affiliate of the VA. They can then stick that card into the card reader and remote desktop into the VBMS system to view information about your claim. So this is going to be some learning curves for them as well as this rolls out. So it is a browser extension, and so it's not meant to be as robust and long-lasting as something that's built into the actual software, he said. VBA is also rolling out smart search tools that will make it much easier for VBA employees to search through a veteran's file much faster. I would assume that this would also roll over to your accredited rep and veteran service officers and all that stuff as well. TELUS said VBA, under its modernization, is looking to break VBMS into smaller pieces, which will allow the agency to modernize and upgrade smaller pieces of VBMS and work more diverse groups of providers. We have come from a background when VBMS first started that this was one giant application. And so, to touch any component, you're reworking all of VBMS to make sure that it was working, he said. So remember, it's one big system. You change something over here, you have to follow it and make sure that it makes it all the way through correctly, that there's no kind of ripple effect of issues. So breaking it into different components makes sense, and so you can fix things here or there or make changes as needed. Makes a lot of sense. As part of this modernization effort, TELUS said VBA is decommissioning some of its legacy systems and either modernizing them into the new modules within VBMS or creating standalone modules. TELUS said that the modernization effort will reduce the need for employees to switch between tools and will enable the future of working by bringing the data they need under one roof. Right now, it is very difficult to do that with some of the environment that's still outstanding from our legacy updates. And so within 2 years, the plan is really getting off those legacy components to enable that work, TELUS said. David Bump, a VBA authorization quality review specialist in Portland, Oregon, regional office, and a national representative for the American Federation of Government Employees National VA Council, said AFGE supports the use of technology to better VBA processors to do their jobs, but said the union is concerned about automation tools replacing VBA employees. Well, of course, because it's a union, right? So the union is concerned about automation tools replacing VBA employees. Of course they are. They're the union. So whatever. But with that being said, what I envision is absolutely there needs to be a person who's visually looking at the claim at some point, right? So I can't. Why am I having such a hard time with that? Automation runs its course, then before it's fully done, a live person looks at it, double checks it, T's crossed, I's dotted, that type of stuff. Makes sense to me. All right, so kind of the same as automated underwriting in the mortgage world. So yeah, sure, it's an automated underwriting system, but still, garbage in is garbage out. So keep in mind that there needs to be a person checking this at some point. All right, moving on. Bump said AFGE is urging lawmakers to take steps to ensure that all incoming veterans claims go through VA claims employees at some point, agreed, and that the process doesn't become fully automated. And I agree. It is important that our collective approach to the use of technology emphasizes the information technology supplement and not supplant the VBA workforce, Bump said. Bump said VBA employees are concerned about the reliability of VBMS and that the system often crashes or requires rebooting, delaying claims processors from completing their work. I agree. Claims processors justifiably fear when the system goes down that they may suffer consequences on their performance metrics, through no fault of their own. Bump said Tellez said the agency addresses outages on a case-by-case basis. We have had some issues, but I am not sure that I would say that there is a consistent trend for that happening, he said. Bump said VBA isn't granting employees enough excluded time, which is meant to account for the time when VBA employees can't do their job because of system issues, or in some cases, extraordinarily complex claims. If a particular station has too much what they perceive to be, or what they perceive to be too much, or over a limit of excluded time that they grant, they have to answer for it. If we're not granted the appropriate amount of excluded time to cover the time that we've lost due to system issues, the only negative effect to the employee is that it's harder to meet the performance standard. Now, I'm going to stop here. Performance standards, worries, hitting certain metrics, all of that stuff, what does that mean, right? So if your VA kind of line of travel for your claim has employees that are being pushed towards certain requirements and hitting certain metrics and performance standards, and they're up against the wall, and now they move faster, are they going to be as competent if they're moving too fast? They might miss something. They might screw up your claim. They may assign you the wrong rating. They may miss a piece of paper that tells them that they should be at a higher rating. I'm just saying that I'm all about holding your employees accountable, and as a taxpayer, absolutely making sure that the government employees have something that's kind of holding them to a certain pace. But at the same token, I don't want them to move fast because of fear, especially if it's a system issue, because there could be a potential of more appeals due to this. And so with that, this kind of a fuzzy area for me, I guess. So let's move on. Bump said VBA employees need a seat at the table when the agency plans to upgrade the tools they use under the current process. He said employees end up beta testing software and telling supervisors about the problems once new tools have been launched. Every time VBMS gets upgrades, there are workarounds that result. And those workarounds, not only do you have to remember what all of them are, but you have to add extra time that it takes to process a claim, because you have to, in some cases, manipulate VBMS. You have to manipulate the system to get it to provide the right result, Bump said. Tellez said VBA holds weekly calls with employees at its 16 regional offices to gather feedback on automation tools. The process that we have for deploying automated decision support tools has high quality, and we do have user frontline employees involved in that process, he said. VBA modernization plans also include improvements to the National Work Queue, a system that batches claims to the 16 regional offices. And so sometimes what you'll see is you may file a claim, and your claim may go to your nearest regional office, which is most typical. Then what happens is sometimes they will be shot off to other regional offices due to workloads or the amount of employees working and so forth. So let's move on. We have the opportunity to look at how can that work be distributed much more in an agile fashion than maybe we do today. Bump said the National Work Queue assigns work to a regional office based on an algorithm that calculates how many employees work in that office. Now, that really super simplifies it, right? So maybe they're also including in the fact that 10 employees requested time off, in this kind of window in this office, but this office is fully staffed. So there's also looking at just kind of everything. From there, supervisors assign work to an individual employee work queue, but Bump said supervisors hold back some work in case employees run out of claims to process. Bump said opening up the national work queue would reduce the amount of time claims processors are sitting idle, waiting for their supervisor to assign additional work. That's a problem and should be corrected. What always seems to happen, though, is it doesn't assign enough work to the office to keep folks busy throughout the day. Bump said, if we could open up the national work queue so that employees have full access to all of the claims, that doesn't make sense. So that employees have full access to all of the claims that are out there, whatever, you get it, they wrote it weird. You wouldn't have to have all those steps where an employee gets assigned not enough work to meet their performance standard on a given day. Then they have to go back to their coach. Their coach has to find work, and so on. Bump also urged VBA, as part of its modernization plans, to ensure a benefits claim stays within one regional office throughout processing. You'd be surprised how many times claims get bounced around that you can see in the system. He said that under the current system, claims processors end up repeating some steps. We have a system where I could work on a claim in Portland, do what I need to do, send it back up, and then the claim goes to Pittsburgh or Denver or St. Petersburg. He said every time that an employee touches a claim, they have to go through it from the beginning, because if there's an error and they didn't catch it, that's their error. In order for an employee to meet their performance metrics and feel good about the job they're doing and keeping their career, they have to almost rework a claim from the beginning every time they touch it to prevent getting an error. That is extremely important. And I'm at the end of the video, just going to give my thoughts on that last piece there. Important. That's such a time waste when you have somebody who has processed a claim and they did so much to it, and then they're done, they turn it back in, then somebody else gets it. They have to go back and make sure that all the T's were crossed and I's were dotted, read through everything, make sure that it's all... Now, devil's advocate here, it's good that they have to do that because they need to understand the claim. But it seems like a lot of redundancy. It would make more sense to stay in the same wheelhouse. Potentially the same person would process it through to the top of their approving ability, right? So if I'm allowed to approve to here, you go all the way through that, bam, you're done, then it goes on to your boss or whatever, right? So there's got to be a better way. Do I know the better way? No, but just wanted to share this with you, bring you guys up to speed so you're aware. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.